Greetings, everyone, and happy Friday. I'm very excited that this coming Sunday, we will be able to gather right here in our sanctuary for worship again. We've missed being together over the last couple of weeks, especially, but as the temperatures dropped, it was necessary for us to take a couple of weeks away from our parking lot worship to make preparations, to make returning in person to worship in our sanctuary as safe as possible. Now, as you prepare to join us on Sunday, I want to give you a little bit of insight into what you should expect from the different measures that we have put in place to keep everyone safe as they worship with us. First, we want you to know that all are welcome among us for worship. That if at all possible, we ask that you go to our church website or call our church office to register, to let us know that you're planning to join us for worship. Now, this will help us to know who's planning to be with us. Now, this is not a reservation. It is a registration to give us a record of who was in the room with us in the event that because of COVID-19, contact tracing is needed. Now, if you do not have a chance to register your plans to join us, we'll simply ask you to fill out a guest registration card when you are here. That'll be in the pew. You can place it in one of the offering plates as you leave the service on Sunday. Now, next, we want you to know that if you are an active member of our congregation in any way in participating in the life of our church, we've set aside a seat for you to make sure that everyone is spread out at safe distances. We've had to divide the congregation basically in half, with those whose names begin with the letters A through H on the Jones Avenue side, and since we don't have anybody whose name starts with the letter I, the letters J through Z on the Augusta Road side. Now, your assigned seat may not be in the pew or even on the side of the sanctuary on which you would normally sit. We appreciate you sitting where we've placed you to make sure that everyone has enough room to worship safely. We've set seat aside specifically for guests as well. So please, if you are a guest, do not hesitate to join us. Everyone will need to enter through the sanctuary vestibule doors at the corner of Jones Avenue and Augusta Street. Go ahead and park in our parking lot or along Jones Avenue and walk up the sidewalk toward Augusta Street. You can't miss the entrance. The doors to the vestibule will be marked with the letters A through H or J through Z to let you know which door you should enter based on the first letter of your last name. Everyone who enters the building will be required to wear a mask. This includes all children that are able to, with the understandable exceptions of the infants among us. When you enter the vestibule doors, you will have your temperature taken. If you have a fever, or if you had one or experienced any symptoms associated with COVID-19 in the 24 hours before worship begins, or you've been exposed to anyone who has, we ask for everyone's safety that you stay at home. And if you have a fever of 100 degrees when you enter the sanctuary, well, we will kindly ask you to return to your car to experience worship online or from the radio. We hope that this will not happen, but it is a necessary precaution for all who will gather and worship with us. Now, there will, of course, be hand sanitizing stations at each of the doors. We ask that you use them before moving from the vestibule into the sanctuary itself. Just like the exterior vestibule doors, the doors to the sanctuary will be marked with the letters A through H or J through Z, telling you which door to enter according to the first letter of your last name. Again, it was necessary for us to spread the congregation out alphabetically, with the A's toward the front side of the Jones Avenue area and the Z's toward the back of the Augusta Street side. When you enter your assigned door, you'll walk along the aisle and see names attached to the side of each pew. This will help you know the pew to which you and your family have been assigned. And then when you enter the pew, you will see your last name attached to the back of the pew where your back would go in the area where we would like you to sit. Again, we've done our best to spread everyone out to make sure each person has enough room to safely worship. Now, our worship experiences will continue to be somewhat shorter than the hour that we traditionally expect. The sermon itself will be a little bit shorter. We'll all wear masks except for the worship leaders when they're leading us. Those who lead in worship will be allowed to remove their mask only when they are speaking or singing. Each speaker or singer will have his or her own microphone, and there will be a safe distance from the microphone to those who are participating in worship. Now, we will not be printing orders of worship like we used to, so that there is nothing that we actually have to pass out. And if you'd like to follow along with the order of worship, or if you'd like to mark the text in your Bible that we'll be worshiping and reading from before worship begins, we'll make an order of worship available on our website and our church app. Simply download it and follow along from there. Now, as always, our online giving portal is available for anyone who would like to contribute tithes and offerings to our ministries. We are grateful for each person who wants to partner with us in ministry or who wants to give back to Christ's movement in the world. For those who would prefer to give their offering in person, there will be offering plates available at each of the sanctuary doors. Please simply place your offering there, either as you enter or as you leave the room. Because of constraints of space, and then to minimize group size, worship care for children will not be offered at this time. All children, toddler age and below, and all children third grade and above will be asked to remain in the sanctuary for the entire worship experience. Now, usually we have gliders in the back of the sanctuary for parents whose children need to be soothed. They have been moved to the vestibule just for this time. If you need to move around during the service to rock your infant and soothe them, please feel free to do so. The space normally occupied by the gliders, though, has had to be cleared to enable space for the toddlers to move around the service as they need to. We're working on speakers for the vestibule so that you'll be able to hear as you care for your infant as well. We want you at worship, and we want you to feel comfortable moving around as you and your child need. You will not be a disruption to us, we promise. I can preach over you, I promise you. The same goes for toddlers. Because all children who will be gathering with Bridget during worship will need to wear masks, we have made the difficult decision to ask children 2 years and under not to leave the sanctuary. There is plenty of space in the back for them to move around as needed. We ask that you would all begin in your assigned seat, but if your toddler needs to move around, that area in the back is going to be reserved for you. Bridget will be placing boxes labeled for each toddler in that space, and it will have age-appropriate items that need to stay in the sanctuary to help add some engaging opportunities for our little ones in case they need an activity. And we plan to reintroduce our normal worship care as soon as we feel that it is safe to do so. Now, after the doxology is played, preschoolers through children in second grade will join Bridget and another volunteer adult in the front of the sanctuary and will leave to go to one of the classrooms around the sanctuary. We'll be limiting groups there to less than 5, so they'll be splitting them up on days with higher attendance. During this time, the children will watch video Bible study lessons and worship music that Bridget sends out each week. There'll be a prayer or short activity lesson as time allows that goes along with the material that they'll be viewing, and all will need to wear masks for the entire time, so please prepare your children. There will be named boxes with supplies for each child to use each week, and the children will sanitize their hands as they enter the rooms, which they're used to, and each child will have their own desk as well. They'll be separated by elementary and preschooler when possible, and this may look different each Sunday as we have to prepare for different rises in attendance. And Bridget's is planning, so please register in advance so that we can know how to prepare. Now finally, to limit the number of children in the classrooms to a safe number, older elementary children, third grade and up, will remain in the sanctuary for the entire worship experience. Bridget will place boxes of supplies for each child at the pew assigned to their family. And the boxes will need to stay in the sanctuary, but will often have a bag of supplies that they can take home with them. These boxes will have items that they can use during worship, but no snacks are going to be included at this time. Now again, please make sure to register. So we will have a box prepared for your child each week with updated materials. The worship itself will continue to follow the pattern of engaging and inspiring experiences that we've all come to love at ARBC. There'll be scripture readings and prayers by ministers and deacons. There'll be solos and music for reflection, although we will not include congregational singing. If you feel led, you should always feel free to hum behind your mask. There will continue to be a sermon each week, of course, that we hope will lead you deeper in your faith and farther along on your journey with Christ each day. At the conclusion of worship, we will immediately dismiss the congregation so that any post-worship conversation takes place outside the building. And we will dismiss everyone one row at a time so there is no log jam in the aisles on the way out. We'll start with the rows in the back and work our way to the front as well. Of course, those parents who need to go pick up their children from their time with Bridget should feel free to head out the doors on either side of the platform and meet their children in the hallway where they've been learning. Now, this will understandably be different than what we would be used to from sanctuary worship here at ARBC, but we fully believe that these measures are necessary to keep everyone safe and healthy. We also believe they'll be temporary, and there will come a time when we can worship as we are used to. But it's exciting to even think about returning to the sanctuary for worship. And I hope you will plan to join us. Of course, if you have any questions, or if you'd like to register to be with us, go to our church website, or contact us there, call us at our church office. We look forward to worshiping with you this Sunday.